It's hard to encourage a young person to get really committed to environmentalism if they never have any connection with nature. So by bringing them out onto the farm, then we're able to establish that connection from a pretty early point.
There's this prevailing notion amongst Muslims and Christians in the United States where they say, well, it doesn't matter, the world's going to end anyway, and we should just pollute. What actually it says in our tradition is that you are supposed to have hope, but have action.
If we get our relationship with the natural world right, then our relationship with the other beings and then other people will automatically be right. Good job.
Small steps will make us stewards of the earth. It will encourage us and encourage us and encourage us.
CBS presents Stewards of the Earth, One Planet, Many Faiths. The narrator is Ted Holmes.
The Jewish Farm School is a nonprofit educational organization near Cold Spring, New York. Their mission? To encourage environmental stewardship through sustainable agriculture. The farm is organic and uses techniques based on writings in the Torah, the Jewish Old Testament.
We have a cultural tradition around food. Matzah ball shoot, matzah, Shabbos meal. And what has kind of been forgotten and left behind is the culture around seeds, around growing food. We're going back to the land and adding Jewish culture into our agriculture. Jewish agriculture instructs us mostly on what to plant next to each other or what not to plant next to each other. It gives us diagrams on how to plant our vineyards, how to plant different crops, where we should be planting our wheat. In the sense of soil construction, we haven't found that yet, but there are volumes and volumes and volumes of literature that we're still figuratively and literally unearthing here. It's an amazing science, it's an amazing tradition, Jewish agriculture.
Food is really important on a few fronts. One is industrial agriculture accounts for, I believe, around 25% of our energy use between the producing and the distribution of food. That's an enormous toll on the environment right now. We employ an industrial model that wreaks havoc on the planet, exploits workers, and is at the root cause of a lot of the diet-related diseases that we're now seeing in the inner city and beyond. But also food is a potent gathering point for people to come together. When you start cooking real, tasty, local, seasonal food, you don't have to convince anyone that it's the right thing to do. They can taste it.
As an educational farm, they use part of the land to model different planting techniques.
One is a no-till section in which we maintain the soil structure and we allow these beds each year to grow and grow and grow. We will cover crop and we will add nutrients, but we will not go back in there with a tiller. Then right in front of me is a tilled section of production rows. Less paths and more tilling. We go in here and we work the soil. Just next to that, what you think is just grass, that's actually cover crop. It's rye and vetch. And we are adding what we call green manure, green matter, to the soil every year and renewing that in order to plant in it one day.
The calendar garden shows how agricultural cycles are tied to Jewish cultural traditions.
We use the wisdom of the sunflower to design our calendar garden. There are 12 different spokes, each representing a different month.
So what we do is with each one of these months, we plant it with plants that are connected to the themes of that month. And sometimes it's more playful and sometimes it's more serious. So for example, in Nisan, which is the month of Passover, we've got a few different plants going on here. We have horseradish growing, which is something that we eat at the Passover Seder. We have parsley, which is also something that we eat at the Passover Seder. And we have some barley growing in the back because Passover was not only the commemoration of the exodus from Egypt, but it's also a celebration of the barley harvest. And then to symbolize the 10 plagues, we have a new locust statue right in the middle of the bed to remind us that other people had to suffer as well, even through our freedom. We can come into this calendar garden and use it as a living laboratory to bring some of the Jewish agricultural history to life and some of the Jewish holidays and traditions to life. Most students aren't learning about this in their Hebrew school. They don't even know the names of the months, let alone the holidays that fall within them, or anything about the ecological roots of the calendar.
Another basic tenet of Jewish agriculture is to share a portion of the harvest.
So this is our Peah garden. Peah is the commandment in the Torah and the Bible to leave the corners of your field for those who don't have their own land to come and harvest for themselves. And there's a whole series of Jewish agricultural laws that basically instruct us to give a portion of what we grow to ensure that the needs of all members of our community are met. When I was living in Philadelphia, I started to get interested in urban agriculture, urban farming, urban gardening, everything from keeping a few chickens in our house and having a small garden to also working at an inner city high school running an after-school garden program. And really through that being exposed to many people who live in a completely different world, where there's no access to fresh produce. The education and awareness around those issues is minimal. So a first step in all this is education. And what I found is that Judaism is a powerful vehicle for galvanizing community efforts. And when you can say, look what our tradition teaches us, these ancient laws about making sure that everyone has access to food, it provides this kind of underlying inspiration to then go out and do good work in the world.
For high school and college students who want to learn about sustainability and environmental justice, the farm offers alternative spring breaks.
These trees have productive lifespans of about 50 to 100 years.
Jonah Meadows-Adels oversees the program.
We want the tree to get used to our clay soil that's not very nutritious and make it really work. Sometimes we jokingly refer to the Torah, the Old Testament, as the Jewish Farmer's Almanac because there's so much agricultural wisdom encoded in the Torah. And that wisdom is inherently social justice wisdom. For the Jewish people historically, ecological wisdom was not different from justice. So we had the opportunity to try out some of those traditions. This is an American hazelnut tree. We practice not harvesting from our fruit trees for the first 3 years that they're alive in order that the trees themselves can grow stronger.
Growing up in the city, it's just such an amazing opportunity to be outdoors and learn about where your food actually comes from. There's a few things you need in this world and food is one of them, so we really get back in touch with how they've been doing it for 3,000 years. This is actually the oldest job, it's not marketing.
There are tremendous environmental issues out there, and between the way we grow crops in America and the way people are so dependent on fuel, and we're just really damaging something that's given us so much.
Do you guys remember why we use the tinfoil on our solar ovens?
To bounce it.
Exactly. So the sun up there bounces off.
It's kind of disappointing to see that we haven't really moved on from our pretty barbaric ways of treating the environment.
This is what the universe wants. It wants us to be co-creators with life. So we come out here and we plant trees and we learn about nature and we listen to the animals and we listen to the plants and we sing songs. I don't know why singing songs together works so well in connecting people with nature, but it's just a fantastic way of building community and creating an authentic relationship with creation.
There's a saying that I was taught once, let the mountains speak for the mountains. Our job is made easy for us by somewhere inside all of us, there's this profound connection we have to nature and to the land. And when we come out onto the field and we start digging and we start planting, something just lights up. And as educators, we can kind of sit back and relax and kind of let the farm speak for the farm, let the plants speak for the plants. And that's really an exciting thing to watch, that kind of the transformation that happens for the students. One of the things that's really inspiring is seeing how people can be really resourceful, can take the resources that they have at hand and do something powerful with them. And you see that a lot in the city. You see people taking vacant lots and turning them into gardens and farms. And then you see community just very organically builds around those efforts.
We have to do stuff right now here on this earth. We have to leave the earth better than we found it because the way we treat the planet is a reflection of the way we treat ourselves.
I decided that now I don't have a lot of time left because my body is getting old and maybe I can't do really a lot. It's not that I can do it, but by doing it, it gives me peace. It gives me happiness. That's another one.
Clapping now, you're supposed to all start clapping.
To purchase a DVD of the CBS Religion special, Stewards of the Earth, call toll-free 1-800-494-6007. That's 1-800-494-6007. Call now.